you've heard of the ABCs of sales. Always be closing. I want to turn that and I want to give you the ABCs of service. Always be caring. The ABCs. Always be caring. If you are a caring person, people do not care how much you know. They only care. They only care. People don't care how much you know. They only know how much you care. Okay. When you're caring about what's important to them, their family, their pets, their property. If you're doing lawn and ornamental, their plants. When you care about what's important to them, then people will listen to you and respect you. Your job is not to be a salesperson, but to be a trusted expert. And a lot of the time what I see when I get the call, your technician was here, but I don't think he understood me. I don't think he heard me. I just want to make sure. Because they originally spoke to me on the phone and I was the expert that they called. I was the guy who picked up that phone and started to the client and asking all these questions. And my technicians aren't extroverted. They're technicians. They're more introverted. They're kind of young. They've been, all of my technicians, I talk all the time about the issue of how we're dealing with millennials and how we're dealing with Generation Z. All I've hired is Generation Z in the last 4 to 5 years, and millennials. I'm not hiring any boomers or Gen Xers. I hire the youngest generation. I know how to deal with them, but I've been a youth minister and dealing with youth for 20-something years. I kind of understand them. And most people think, well, all the, the stuff that I post about this and that, most of the time I post it to get your reaction, to see what you really think. I put a thermometer in the audience to figure out, running out of gas, where everybody's at and knowing where the hot buttons and the hot points are. I'm like a guy who can always find that nerve. So understand that if you're a caring person, you're young, you're introverted, I am that guy who will survive in any organization and thrive, because I enjoy being thrown at the deep end of the pool with no lifesaver and I don't know how to swim. I enjoy being in that environment. I thrive in that environment. The problem that you have with most people in this generation is that you have to have a training program for everything lined up, because if they feel uncomfortable, they're quitting. The reason I will thrive no matter what organization I go in, and I've gone in, is because I am quite the opposite. That's my DNA. That's how I'm wired. I'm outspoken. I'm charismatic. I have a great smile. I'm good looking. But this might not be you, and you got to work at it a little bit. But if you're caring, if you can show genuine care, you will win that customer over, even if you're an introvert. Because everyone wants to feel important. Everybody wants to feel cared for. So always be caring. Selling comes down to this simple thing. You believe in yourself. You believe in your product, your service, your training, your support. You believe in the brand. And if you believe in that, then you feel comfortable selling it to the client, because you're going to project it. When you are driving around in an old beat up truck with bad equipment and bad chemicals, 50-year-old chemicals, and they're telling you to spray everything under the sun, you don't feel very confident as a technician. But when you're driving around in a brand new truck with the latest equipment, I equip my new trucks with the latest gear. They're nice new trucks. They're clean. They get to have pride in work and in workmanship. Therefore, they feel comfortable not selling, but, in their work, and try to give them the best training possible. And what happens with a lot of companies is all of the training goes into the sales force, and very little training actually goes into the technical force. The guys that actually have to pull off, they actually have to write, cash the checks that the sales mouth is running. And a lot of the time that doesn't happen. So if you're excited, listen, guys, if you're not excited about your company, the product, the service, if you would never buy it, if you wouldn't own it, and you don't believe in the company, you don't believe in the product, you don't believe in what you're doing, please listen to me. By all means, quit and go do something else. Or go work for a company you can believe in, a product you can believe in. You're doing the world and yourself a disfavor. You're robbing the customer from the best that they can get. You're robbing your company from the best that they can get. And you're robbing yourself from the best you can get. Go do something else for somebody else, somewhere else, that you can do this, that you can believe in it. But everyone can be a salesperson and in sales for their company in a different way if they have the enthusiasm. Because enthusiasm is contagious. I got people on the phone that tell me, Frank, how long you been doing this? I says, man, 15 years. And you still have that much passion when you talk about pest control. Customers who hear my passion about pest control. But I consult them, I console them, I comfort them. And you got to learn that that's what's most important. Can you comfort that mother who is afraid of the bug problem she has, or who is frustrated? I'm in the process of trying to buy a home. And I said, you're lucky you're dealing with me and you're not dealing with another spouse. I can make decisions. This is totally binary for me. This is about, I like that house. It fits my needs. I'm doing it. I don't care about the color. I can always change the color. I don't care about the flooring. I don't care. This is what I want. And she tells me, Frank, it's okay. I'm part therapist and part bartender, in this job. She's a young girl. She's a whip. She's brilliant at how to handle people. She can disarm just about anybody. This is always where I've thrived at. I disarm people. I can deal with angry people and really upset and just frustrating people, and I can calm them down and bring them down and deal with them. Not everybody can do that at all levels. It requires you to learn how to manage people. Remember, guys, we are in a people business. We're not in the pest business. We're not in the pesticide business. We're not in the product business. What you sell is yourself. Learn to sell yourself every single day. You never have a second chance to make a first impression. If you walk into the customer's house and your shirt is all out and you look ragged because, you've been just beat to death, that customer impression of you is going to be how you conduct yourself, how you greet the person at the door. You can't screw up the first impression when you're doing an initial. And this, is the customers, you're the frontline person for that company. And they're the actual first person probably that they are seeing in these days, because the days of internet, because of phone sales, nobody sees a human being. And you're the first human being they're seeing. What do they think about you? It matters what people think about you. Be on time. If you're not going to be on time, have the courtesy to contact the person and tell them you're not going to be on time. Look professional. Believe in your service. Believe that you're giving the customer the best service they can buy on the planet. You gotta use humor. Be enthusiastic. Don't be so dry when you walk. I'm gonna inspect your house now, and I'm gonna treat it, and I'm gonna let you know what I found. All right? have a little enthusiasm. The best people that are hireable for pest control aren't people with a lot of experience. It's the people that have what are known as the soft skills. Customer service skills. People who've been in customer service. People who've been waiters and waitresses. People who've been bartenders. People that understand how to interact with people, because we can teach the technical. You can teach anyone how to mix a drink. You can teach anyone how to carry a plate. You can't teach them how to be personable and how to be likable. Waitresses have to be likable. They don't have to be clowns. They don't have to be comedians. But you see them use a little humor. They'll pay you a compliment. They understand this game. And the best thing that you can do is be yourself, sell yourself. But, if you can learn how to role play, managers, it is so vitally important that you role play with people, that you sit down and you say, listen, you coach, you had this problem, you had this is how you deal with it. Coaching and training is constant. It isn't, I send him to sales training and now he's supposed to come back and implement all this. Most sales training, there is no really good sales training to help technicians who are introverts and left brain to be better at it. All the sales training is for salespeople, for large organizations, for management. So communication is going to be vital in your role as the frontline person. You need to be able to ask good questions, but you also need to have the patience to listen actively. A lot of the times, the technician doesn't want to listen to the customer because they look down on the customer as the customer is stupid. The customer doesn't understand pest. He doesn't understand entomology. He doesn't understand chemistry. The customer is not supposed to understand this. That's your job. And what's sad is that neither do a lot of people in this industry. As a Bible-believing Christian, Jesus teaches us to become a servant of all.